Hello, everybody. Welcome inside to episode 2 of Sam's podcast. We'll be talking about some college men's basketball on episode 2. Let's start with the standings. So the standings of all the conferences. So in the A-Sun, leading that is North Alabama. Leading the America East is UMass Lowell. The American Athletic Conference is Memphis. Atlantic 10, St. Joseph. Atlantic Coast Conference, aka ACC. Duke. Big 12, Iowa State. Big East, Marquette. Big Sky, Northern Arizona. Big South, High Point. Big 10, Michigan State. Big West, UC San Diego. Coastal Athletic Association, Hampton. Conference USA, Liberty. Horizon League, Youngstown State. Ivy League, Columbia. Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, Marist. Mid-American Conference, Kent State. Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, Norfolk State. Missouri Valley Conference, Indiana State. Mountain West Conference, Utah State. Northeast Conference, Central Connecticut. Ohio Valley Conference, Morehead State. Patriot League, Holy Cross. SEC, Alabama. Southern Conference, Furman. Southland Conference, Nichols. Southwestern Athletic Conference, Southern. Summit League, North Dakota State. Sunbelt, Arkansas State. West Coast Conference, Oregon State. And last but not least, the Western Athletic Conference, Grand Canyon. Alright, let's now break down, let's now look at the top 25 rankings. And we're looking at the AP Top 25, not the Coaches Poll, the AP Top 25 for men's college basketball in week 8. So number one ranked Tennessee Volunteers. Then we got at 2 we got Auburn, 3 Iowa State, 4 Duke, 5 Alabama. That's your top 5. You got Florida, Kansas, Marquette, Oregon, Kentucky, UConn, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Gonzaga, Houston, Ole Miss, Cincinnati, Michigan State, Mississippi State, San Diego State, Purdue, UCLA, Arkansas, Illinois, and Baylor at 25. Baylor has moved up one. They are back in the rankings after getting dropped out of the rankings. Not last rankings, but the rankings before that. They got knocked out. Illinois went up by 2, so they're back in the rankings, just like Baylor. Arkansas is back in the Arkansas is in the rankings again. They went up by 3. They're back in the rankings, just like Illinois and Baylor. UCLA went down by 4, they're now 22. Purdue went down by 5, they're now 21. San Diego State went up by 3, they're now 20. Mississippi State now 19 after going up by 7. They're back in the rankings. Going up by 2 is Cincinnati and Michigan State. Michigan State now 18, Cincinnati now 17. Ole Miss went up by 1 from 17 to 16. Houston stays at 15. Gonzaga and Texas A&M went down by 1. Gonzaga 14 and Texas A&M at 13. Oklahoma is at 12 after going up by 2 from 14 to 12. UConn stays where they're at 11. Kentucky dropped by 6. They're now at 10. Oregon up by 1. They're now at 9 from 10 to 9. Marquette at 8 from 9 to 8. Kansas from 8 to 7. Florida from 7 to 6. Alabama from 6 to 5. Duke from 5 to 4. And then the top 3 is the same. Tennessee at 1, Auburn 2, Iowa State 3. Now it's kind of interesting, just because Tennessee's 11-0. Actually no, it might be 12-0 now. Actually, yeah, I think they're 12-0 now. But Baylor's next game is against Arlington Baptist, like I mentioned. That will be tomorrow at the Foster Pavilion in Waco, Texas. Baylor would take on Arlington Baptist. Houston's next game will be on Tuesday. I think Tuesday. And their next opponent will be, it will be their first conference game of conference play. They'll play Oklahoma State. And then for Kansas, their next game is on Monday. Or Tuesday. And Kansas also plays their first game of conference play against West Virginia, who's actually been upsetting quite a few people lately. West Virginia's surprisingly been doing really well lately. In fact, excuse me, if we look at West Virginia, if we take a look at West Virginia, so the most recent game, they won 67-46 over Mercyhurst. That's just how I pronounce it. The Mercyhurst Lakers. So yeah, West Virginia. And West Virginia's next opponent is against Kansas, obviously. But then they got Oklahoma State. Then the next 4 is against Oklahoma State, Arizona, Colorado, and Houston. But yeah, West Virginia. So Kansas is 9-2 overall. West Virginia is also 9-2 overall. 9 wins, 2 losses. West Virginia's been playing some pretty good basketball here lately. This season, so far this season, and Kansas might. If Kansas doesn't get off to a really good start, if Kansas doesn't get off to a expected Kansas start, then West Virginia might actually give Kansas a run for their money. If we take a look here, Houston and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has an 8-win, 3-loss overall record. Houston, same. 8 wins, 3 losses. So, that game could also be a run for your money for both teams. Baylor, as we know, 7 wins, 3 losses. So, that's that. But if we look at, let's go NCAA men's basketball. Let's go let's go stats. Let's read off some stats here for a little bit. Alright, so offensive leaders. Um, offensive leaders. We got Villanova, Eric Dixon, leading that. Leading defensive leader is Carson Tout of Northern Arizona. Um, and then for blocks, we got, is that Queens? Yeah, that's Queens. Ford Malcolm Wilson. And then for Gonzaga, we got Ryan Newhard. He's been playing good basketball this year for Gonzaga so far. For the Green Bay Phoenix, we got Anthony Roy. He's a guard for Green Bay. And for UC San Diego, we got guard Hayden Gray. UCF. Oh wait, no, sorry. If we take a look at teams, offensive leaders, Gonzaga. Offensive leaders for teams: Gonzaga. Defensive leaders: Houston. So Gonzaga has 89.3 points. Houston has 55.3 points. Allowed, I guess. Gonzaga is just barely beating Kentucky, too. Kentucky has 89.1 points scored. Gonzaga has 89.3 points. Field goal percentage. We got Northern Iowa at a 52 field goal percentage. For rebounds, we got Florida leading with about 45.4 rebounds. 45.4 rebounds, so close to about 45 and a half. Points differential. We got Maryland leading that with plus 27 points differential. Blocks. We got San Diego State leading that with about 7 blocks. So yeah. If we go back, let's look at some scores. So I want to go all the way to New Year's Eve. That's on a Tuesday. New Year's Eve. Because I know there are gonna be some good games on to watch on New Year's Eve. So at 1:00 on ESPN Plus, the 7-ranked Kansas Jayhawks take on the West Virginia Mountaineers. At 1:00 on ESPN Plus, the 25-ranked Baylor Bears take on the Utah Utes. At 1:00 on ESPN-U, the 10-ranked Kentucky Wildcats take on the Brown Bears. At 2:00, we have ESPN Plus and SEC Network Plus. 1-ranked Tennessee Volunteers take on the Norfolk State Spartans. At 3:30 p.m. on the ACC Network, the 4-ranked Duke Blue Devils take on the Virginia Tech Hokies. So yeah, and then last but not least, at 5 p.m. on FS1, the Providence Friars play a Big East Conference game against the 8-ranked Marquette Golden Eagles. On January 1st, you got the 11-ranked UConn Huskies against the DePaul Blue Devils. I believe they're Blue Devils. Sorry, Blue Demons. My bad. The 11-ranked UConn Huskies against the DePaul Blue Demons, and that is on January 1st of 2025. January 1st at 1 p.m. on CBS Sports Network, which you can find right on YouTube TV. If we go back here, alright, so, alright, let's see. One thing, alright, now I'm gonna close this and I'm just gonna talk to you guys. So one thing that I do want to put out there is, look, Baylor, they're at 25, alright? So Baylor is going to have to keep on winning if they're going to want to get anywhere close to the top 10 again, like they were earlier this season. And same with Houston. If Houston wants to get up by like 5 spots to get back into the top 10, well, they need to keep winning. And for Houston, that starts with this game, this Tuesday or this Monday, whatever, against Oklahoma State. They have to win that game. And same for Baylor against Arlington Baptist. Now, Arlington Baptist should be easy, but their game after that is not easy. They're playing Utah. They have to win that game against Utah. The college basketball people are simply not gonna put Baylor anywhere higher. They might, but they're probably not gonna put Baylor anywhere higher if they only win against Arlington Baptist, just because Arlington Baptist, that's like a Division II, Division III team. They're not. It doesn't even show their logo. So Baylor, and then it's not a competitive basketball team that they're going up against. So Baylor has to go up against Utah, and they have to win that game against Utah. Not just because it's their first game of conference play, but mainly also so they can get up in the rankings more. And same for Houston. Starts with against Oklahoma State. Same with Kansas and West Virginia. Kansas needs to win that game against West Virginia if they're going to get anywhere close to possibly that number 1 spot again. Because remember last year they dominated that number 1 spot in the rankings for I pretty sure a good majority of the season. Before they dropped out. Well, actually, no. For a little bit of the season, they were in the number 1 spot before UConn took over. But before UConn was even really good, before UConn was at the level they are now, where they've won back-to-back titles now, Kansas was, like, always at the number 1 spot in the rankings. But yeah, Kansas, they need to start with a win against West Virginia. In fact, if I look, so let's look at Kansas. Kansas Jayhawks. Wait, hold on, Kansas. So Kansas, they need to beat West Virginia. Then after that, they play UCF. They need a win against UCF. Alright? After that, you got Arizona State. You gotta win. Alright? When it comes to conference play, these are must-win games. And that goes the same for Houston. Houston has to win these games as well. Because Houston, yeah, after Oklahoma State, they got BYU. They have to win that game. And after that, hold on. And then after that, they got TCU, then Kansas State, then West Virginia. They have to win that game. They have to win all the games. They have to win those games. If Houston and Baylor and Kansas are going to get anywhere close to the top 10, or if you're in Kansas's scenario, stay in the top 10, then you have to win these games coming up against really good basketball teams. Like for example, like I already mentioned, Baylor gotta win against Utah. Houston gotta win against Oklahoma State. Kansas gotta win against West Virginia. If you can't win, then you're gonna have a really hard. If you can't win most of these conference games here in conference play, then you're gonna have a whole lot of trouble when it comes to the Big 12 tournament. You have to go out here and win, and prove to yourself that you are eligible to win these games against powerful basketball teams. You have to go out here and prove to yourself that you are who you say you are. Now I want to make this final note. Actually, final two notes before I sign off for tonight. Look, basketball. Alright, so basketball, there's a lot of ups and downs. But Houston, Baylor, Kansas, they all need to get rid of that in their head. They all need to just focus as far as playing the game. They need to focus and just focus on winning. That's all they need to do. I've seen way too many times, not just this season, but even last season, I saw this a lot. Baylor, Houston, sometimes Kansas even. I don't want to say they're acting like. I don't want to say they're acting just because I know they're not. But they don't seem like themselves. Let's put it like that. They don't seem like themselves. I've seen, like, for example, Houston. I've seen Houston play not their normal basketball at times. I've seen Baylor play not their normal basketball at times. Same with Kansas. Heck, Kansas lost to, who was it? Kansas. Wait, hold on. Kansas. Kansas lost at some point. I think Kansas lost at some point. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, heck, they lost back-to-back games against non-ranked teams. They lost to Creighton, 76-63. And they lost to Missouri, 76-67. So those were the two main games that I knew out of the blue. Kansas wasn't playing like themselves that day. And honestly, in a way that honestly makes sense, because I don't know if anyone knows, or sorry, if anyone remembers, but those two games against Creighton and Missouri were back-to-back days. They were in a non-conference tournament at that point. They were in a tournament where they had to play back-to-back days. And yeah, their players got wore out. Their players ran out of steam, clearly very quickly, and that's a main sign and a main reason of why they lost those two straight games to non-ranked teams, to Creighton and Missouri. Two games they should have won. Two games they clearly should have won. And they didn't. Mainly because they were out of steam. Even the head coach said he knew their player. Even the head coach even knew his players were tired after playing back-to-back days before that Missouri game. He even knew that was too much for their players to play back-to-back days. To add on a third straight day of playing basketball. That just puts a whole lot on not just you, but your body at the same time. It makes your body hurt, or not hurt, but it can sometimes make your body sore. If you're, like, for example, working out. Sometimes it can make your body sore if you're, like, let's say if you work out a muscle that you haven't worked out in a long time, or that you haven't worked in a long time. So yeah, I think that's basically it. But yeah, the main story about the main story of this entire episode is just Houston, Kansas, and Baylor. They just need to win. That's all they need to do. They need to win in order for them to stay in the top 25. But anyways, guys, I will be live again tomorrow with episode 3 of the podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe, alright? And I'll catch y'all I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out, guys.